Hi, everyone. And the focus card is the world. So it could be that it's because some things are coming to a completion this week, some sort of cycle. And these can always be inner cycles or concrete things like finishing a project, um, graduating from school, anything like that. So it's a kind of a beautiful card of a beginning and an end because once you finish something, then there's sort of not a void, but usually the desire to start something new. And that can be where that Two of Wands is coming in. It's like, okay, I completed that. That's awesome. But as human nature is, okay, what's next? Where am I going to focus my energy next? And that's okay. I think I remember Oprah saying that once. She was like, every time she um, conquered some huge dream of hers, she would realize, oh, I'm not quite happy. And at first she was like, it was really upsetting to her. And then she realized that that's just the cycle. That's the way it is. And not to worry about it and sort of let it set you off. But once you've accomplished something, it's just natural to want to then move on to something else. And it's being crossed by the Six of Cups. So you may even be feeling a little nostalgic that this cycle is over. So it could be something, if you have children graduating, that's always pretty a time that's sort of reflective and can bring up some nostalgic feelings, or even leaving a job that you don't like can bring, because you put, almost especially if you didn't like it, because it can feel like you expended so much energy and time that it's kind of like, was all that for nothing? Like, what was that for? That was just, and I couldn't make it better. And why couldn't I make it better? And I see we have the Four of Swords crowning us. So I think that's going to play in. If any of us are having sort of, it's not even so much regrets, but just like having trouble putting things into a comfortable perspective, the Four of Swords is going to come along and tell us to, I'll just read it now, to give ourselves a break. Not Most things are not in our control, and we did the best we could with what we had in that situation, with what we had to work with. Of course, we can play the coulda, shoulda, woulda game, but it's sort of like, if you just want to be unhappy and have a bad day, then sure, go ahead and play that game and just say, well, I could have done this, and if this has happened, this happened. Or you can breathe, meditate, maybe do a little, I'm big into um, like symbolic things, like write down everything about that situation and put it in a letter, or burn it, or bury it in your backyard, and say, I'm releasing this. I'm letting this go. And anytime it comes up, say, okay, when that comes up, I'm going to replace it with thinking about that amazing vacation I had. And train yourself. We can train our minds to not be negative all the time. But I feel like it's sort of more of like for some of you, it may be a difficult situation, but that you're leaving behind, completing, which is great. But for some of us, it could be very much, I think, child related as well, missing some things from the past. What's fading away is the Strength card. So we definitely, some of us were enduring something that was very, it just took a lot of inner strength. And we even had to potentially make ourselves vulnerable to deal with it. And so what does that mean? So making yourself vulnerable. If you're someone that has a hard time sticking up for yourself, especially with, like, maybe there's a certain person that's um, always kind of bullying you or something, whether you realize it or not, and you finally had to stand up to that person. That could be very vulnerable for you, even if you're very good at being um, standing up for yourself in other situations. It could be this one person that somehow has a hold, or you perceive to have some sort of influence over you, to finally like put your foot down and watch their temper tantrum ensue, right? And you're just, it takes a lot of strength to deal with situations like that. It can take a lot of strength to leave a job that you actually love because you know there's something better out there for you. So it can take a lot of strength to encourage your kids to move out and be their own people, because then you're not going to be able to see them as much, something like, so it doesn't have to be a positive or a negative thing. So what's coming into focus is the Six of Pentacles. So we have another six, and this is a beautiful card of balance, of giving and receiving. So I think we're going to, this situation is going to bring a lot of wisdom. We're going to gain a lot of wisdom from it about giving and receiving, when to sort of let people learn their own lessons, when to ask for help and support. I feel like some of us, this is true for me, had to ask for a lot more support than they're used to asking for, and that can take a lot of strength and be uncomfortable if you pride yourself on being an independent person. I like to say when this card comes up is to be a gracious receiver, because I think a lot of us love giving, and we understand the joys and the benefit and what we personally, it's almost selfish, get out of giving to others, but we have a hard time receiving. So be a gracious receiver and don't rob someone else of the pleasure of being able to help you out, help someone else out. The Nine of Swords. Oh, now there are little squirrels running around. Insomnia, worry, anxiety. So some of us were and actually I don't usually read reverse cards, but it did happen. Usually I don't even notice. I just turn them around and it goes out of my mind when I do happen to notice it. So hopefully in the reverse, this means we're letting go of that. So if you've had some sleepless nights, some worry and anxiety, I'm going to go back to this Four of Swords of really trying. I know it's easy, like, oh, it's like people have heart attacks and they're like, you have to reduce stress. Like, how stressful must it be to like have a life-threatening heart attack? And then like, don't stress. Like, okay, that's even more stressful than I'm more stressed than I was before. Like, but look for tools, practical tools. And we have this very practical page coming up to help actively alleviate stress. I'm sure there are things you can find online. You can get counseling. Exercise is an amazing way to release anxiety. So this could be messages. This page is very patient. In the Anna K Tarot, it shows a young person fishing, and fishing takes an enormous amount of patience if you're ever going to catch any fish. I mean, some people have dumb luck, but so patience with yourself, patience with the process, patience with trying to implement practical solutions to help alleviate anxiety and stress and cope with changes, good or bad. This page is she's starting to take those practical steps in her health and how she earns her money and her spirituality and her surroundings. Okay, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next video. Take care.